What is up, guys? This is Pinzo back with another video today, and what I have for you guys is a tier list. This is going to have some discussion in it as well. I don't think I have enough discussion points to warrant its own video, so I'm going to throw them into here as we go through some of the characters, because a lot of the discussion points I have revolve around a few key characters. Excuse me. Before we get into it, if you guys want to enjoy the content, please do be sure to leave it a like and a comment down below. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna say a lot of stuff in this video. So if you guys have any questions about anything, leave it in the comments. I'll be sure to answer. Yeah. Subscribe if you're new, all that kind of stuff. Lots of you guys that watch aren't subscribed, so I appreciate it. But we are going to get into this list. So first thing you're gonna notice, I added a tier. I think that this game, generally speaking, fairly well balanced. I put in an A+ tier just to spread it out a little. Otherwise, you're going to have half the cast in A tier. And this is just to show you who I think is like the better of the average characters versus kind of the average characters, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense. And then S tier, of course, is broken pretty much. Starting us off, speaking of which, I still think Countess is actually, I think actually now, undisputedly, I think Countess is the best character in the game. I think that this character got buffed. She did. Just statistically, outside of her passive, which did get nerfed, 5% less lifesteal, outside of her passive, she got buffed. If you have more than 400 magical power, which right now, they buffed all the mage items, more than 400 magical power takes about 3 items. So, you're going to have more than 400. You're going to do more damage and heal more from your right click than you did before. I think this character got buffed. I don't know why they keep doing that. They're like, well, we don't want to have people play tank Countess. Just nerf her numbers. Make her worse. They keep doing these shifts to make characters like stay kind of the same. And I kind of don't understand it. Like, just nerf the character. She's obviously overtuned. 2 nerfs. This is a thing that I'm going to do a little bit in this video is suggest some nerfs for some of these characters. Number 1, if she gets hard CC, don't let her teleport back. Really harsh nerf. If I had to guess, it would dumpster the character. But it makes her play like Kallari. Right now, Kallari, if Kallari gets into the back line and gets stunned, she dies. Countess gets into the back line, gets stunned, teleports out. Right? It's not really fair. Like, why would you play Kallari? Obviously, you play Kallari in the jungle, Countess in the mid, still. Anyways, the other thing they keep doing is trying to nerf her healing. And they've done this a lot around the game that I don't really understand it. They keep nerfing healing instead of buffing anti-heal, which to me, like, I sort of get it. Like, there are some spots of healing, like Tainted Totem affecting yourself and stacking with Raymond. That one needs something fixed, right? But they keep like poking the balloons that have healing in them instead of I don't know, dropping a cinder block on it. Anti-heal doesn't stack in this game. You can only 40% anti-heal someone. If they let it stack even twice, let me 80% anti-heal someone. Let alone if you let it stack all the way and let you 100% anti-heal people. It would instantly balance all the healers. You'll see it as I go along. I think healers are really strong right now. And I think the reason for that is because anti-heal kind of stinks. On top of that, they buffed a lot of the mage items. So like Tainted Scepter, which also got buffed last patch, I kind of think you're not going to build anymore. I just don't think it's worth it. If you have a Tainted Totem on your team, that's all the anti-heal you need. Like, boom. And Tainted Rounds is better anyway, so your carry's going to pick it up. So whoever they're shooting is already anti-healed. I don't know. I don't know why they don't buff anti-heal. Crunch. Slightly better than I think he was last patch. Due to nothing in particular, I think you just have to build full CDR. Any item with 20 haste, build it. That's really, I think, how you play this character. You can almost infinitely knock someone up if you have enough CDR. It's close. I think he's fairly strong. If you are playing against, like, I don't know, a Gideon mid and a Muriel support, I think this character could be played. If you don't snowball, you lose. Decker, A+. One of the better supports in the game. Quite strong. Lots of crowd control. Very elusive. Has a really good cage. Nothing's really changed for Decker. Your same build that you were building before is gonna be the play. Drongo, I'm gonna put him A+. I think he's better than most of the other carries. Again, really hard to kill. His silence brings a lot of utility. Has max health damage in the kit. I think he's just pretty strong. Fang Mao. You guys hate Fang Mao. I like Fang Mao. Same thing as Crunch. If you build full CDR on this character, you're talking about having a second. I played it earlier. You're ending the game with like 55% CDR. You have a 7-second dash. If you have Omen, you can dash. If you dash in E Omen, you can E again and dash out. Because your E lowers the cooldown on your dash, Omen lowers the cooldown on all your abilities. You can dash E, auto E, dash out, and you kill people doing that. I think that this character I think people need to give him another chance. I still think he's quite strong. Faye, okay, I would put Faye S. I think she's the best mage that's not Countess in this game. Really strong ultimate. Abuses Megacosm. Megacosm needs fixed. I don't think you can make Megacosm shred objectives the way it does. Currently, it procs its passive on every tick of an ability rather than once per ability. So an ability like Faye's right click that does many ticks of damage. Faye's right click does like 10% of something's max health just from Megacosm on Fangtooth and Prime. I think that's broken. On top of its own 1,000 damage that it does, I think that's broken. Gadget, same thing. Abuses Megacosm on the right click. You can ult objectives and do the same thing. As long as she can do 25% of Prime's health with a right click. Okay, it's maybe 15 or 18%. But the point being, she can do 18% of Prime's health on a 6-second cooldown. I don't know if you guys realize that. She's really good with Megacosm. Gadget gets pseudo buffed from Azure Core as well. Azure Core getting better. Pretty core item on Gadget. Small buff there. But as long as these guys abuse Megacosm, I think they're the best mid laners. Gideon doesn't abuse Megacosm on objectives. Still a decent mid laner. If you go Azure Core, double pen, you can still like 2-shot people mid game, late game. Bad ultimate, but bummer. Rux. I don't know if he wins the Sevrog matchup. If he does, he's probably A+. If he doesn't, he's probably A. Mid-tier character. I think you can play him in the jungle. Honestly, I'd prefer him in the solo lane. I think he is good. I think that you kind of just have a lot of crowd control late game. You can keep 2 or 3 people, depending on... If you hit 2 people with your pull and keep them in place for the next 2 seconds, they should die. Pretty strong bruiser out of the solo lane. I like him. Howitzer doesn't abuse Megacosm. I think that automatically puts him a step below these other mages. Has a weird single target ultimate that I don't know. It's fine, but he doesn't bring the same big circle that these other 3 bring, which I think brings him down a tier in team fights. He kind of has a delete button, but every time you're just going to get a blink. If you ult someone that doesn't have a blink, you're going to get a kill. You're pretty vulnerable in the air. If you play against an Arbash or a Richter who know what they're doing, you're going to get stunned every time. Kalari. I'm going to put Kalari 1 step above Crunch. I think she's pretty bad. They slowed down her early game clear quite a bit. Which, again, on Kalari, your whole goal is to get ahead early because she is a very snowbally character. They made it way harder to get ahead early. I think she's going to be not great. I think that nerf hits her harder than it looks like. Chimera. Probably the best non-Rampage jungler in the game. I really like the Chimera into Rampage matchup, however. I think that Chimera, if you go Mutilator first item, which I still think is usable on Chimera. It's not the greatest thing, obviously, but usable. 20 haste is insane on Mutilator, by the way. Play Chimera against Rampage. You can immune the rock. You can shred him with your Q. I think that matchup is in Chimera's favor. However, I do think Rampage is probably the best jungler in the game, which we'll get to. Still very good. I really like Kai right now. Belica. I'm stuck on this character, man. I feel like she should be so good. I'm gonna put her in A tier. I really think that in the correct hands. Let's be clear. I scrimmed against Wangle playing Belica. I think Belica has potential to be the best mage in the game. I think that if you are very good at her, she probably is actually the best mage in the game, behind Countess. I think that the people need to understand that you don't have to stun bomb. Your bomb is on a 2.5 second cooldown. Just spam right click. You don't even need to auto. Just spam right click, guys. She's really good. Azure Core, you're ending the game on Belica with like 3,800 mana. You're getting 200 power from Azure Core. You are 2-shotting people with bombs late game. I think she's really, really strong. Her drone got a buff. It's still a bad ability. You have to be really good at placing it to have any use in it. I think that the longer you can hold it in a team fight, the better. The more chaotic a fight gets before you throw down the drone, the better. So hold that ability, and I think it gets good. I think she's borderline A plus for me, maybe even borderline S in if Wangle is playing her basically. Murdoch, decent carry, pretty safe. You shouldn't be able to get ganked early. Late game, you have an ultimate that's not a team fight ultimate, so that's already a downgrade, but decently safe. Muriel, pretty bad. I think the only change Muriel needs outside of nerfing Breach, which Breach is a really good item and people are just figuring it out, which I think is hilarious, has really good stats, pretty good passive, build it against Muriel. Her right click, if her right click cleansed, that's the buff I would give her. Just make her right click cleanse. You can get one teammate out of danger every 8 seconds. That's not a lot, but it's a play she can make. Right now she's pretty useless. She doesn't do anything. She has a speed boost and a slow and an unreliable knockup on her ultimate. I think she's just bad. Narbash. I'm gonna put Narbash in A plus. I think he's top 2 supports right now. Narbash heal got a huge buff. Again, coming back to the Kai problem, they nerfed Raiment of Renewal, which now no longer gives you increased healing on yourself. I don't think it matters. Kai, Narbash you weren't building it on anyway, but Kai you were building it on. They didn't buff anti-heal. They buffed Narbash healing as well. So I don't even know why they would nerf the rest of the healing and then buff Narbash healing instead of, I don't know, buffing anti-heal. But again, I digress. Narbash healing got a big buff. You full heal your carries in like 20 seconds. It's really good. Play Narbash, you can't lose lane. Really easy thunk. Don't build True Silver. It's honestly not worth it. Just build other good items, and then when you press R, just know your ult isn't going to make it off. Just know it's not. Until they buff the ultimate, I think this character can't be SS. Movement speed's nice. Good stun. Really good heals. Rampage, probably the best jungler in the game. Again, like I said, I really like the Kai into Rampage matchup. However, I still think Rampage is really good. Your clear slows down by about 10% from the Fire Blossom nerf. Not enough to make a difference. Still a really good jungler. You have a 2-second stun. It comes out instantly when you ult. Walking stat stick. I just hate this character. He's so boring. Richter. Probably the 3rd best support. I would probably say Decker and Narbash are top 2, and then I'd say Richter. You have to stand still to do a lot of things on Richter. You have to stand still to pull. You have to stand still to ult. You're going to start eating damage. Once people figure out that Richter stands still for half of a fight, you're going to start eating mage abilities when you stand still. You're going to start eating auto attacks when you stand still. I think if you don't have a tanky team comp, Richter is useless. You have to have at least one other tank on your team, or else Richter in the front line stands still and dies at the beginning of every fight. If you build a team comp with a Richter, I think he's decent. I think he's quite strong. Like if you have maybe a Steel solo or a Sev solo and a Rampage jungle, I think he gets better the more tanks are on your team. Sevarog, this character sucks, man. They keep buffing his stats, and I really hate that. I'm gonna be honest. If you were to let's take Crunch. Crunch is the worst character in the game. If you were to take Crunch and you were to make his Q, his left Crunch, if you were to make it do 1,000 damage, Crunch would be broken. That's what they're doing to Sevarog, except with health. They've given Sev health buffs in about the last 3 patches after taking away 10 health on his passive at the beginning of the game. I don't like the way that they buff this character. I think this character inherently, Sevarog's kit, his abilities, and his passive are stuck in 2016, and I think he needs a rework. I'm not gonna lie, I think that is the only way to save this character. He has, this is a kit, this is just objectively what is in his kit. A spammable Q, heals him a little bit, scales up as the game goes on. That's fine. His passive stacks last hits when you kill something with an ability. It gives you, at max rank, it gives you like 300 health or something like that, and then some damage to your Q. I think that's fine if that's what you want his identity to be. I think he needs to evolve more. The rest of his kit doesn't evolve with his passive, and I think it should. His E is a root. It's a fairly long range circular root that slows afterwards on a 15-second cooldown. Why does this character have a 15-second cooldown at all? Like that's ridiculous. Oh, one 15-second cooldown, you say? How about two 15-second cooldowns? Wait, the second one is 20 seconds? Why does this character have a 20-second cooldown dash that doesn't do damage? It doesn't have any CC on it. It's moderately fast, I suppose, and it goes through creeps, which is awesome. Very cool. It was 24 seconds before. They just buffed it to 20 seconds at rank 1. Wild to me that this character still exists in 2023. I don't get it. I think his kit is stuck in 2016. It's maybe even stuck in like 2014, honestly. I think this character, his design, I think is bad. Visually, he's kind of cool. His ultimate is the coolest part of his kit. I think you can keep the ultimate, scrap everything else. That's my opinion. I think this character sucks. This character is boring. He's not, I don't think he's very good. You can make any character good by giving them stats, and that's what they're doing to Sevarog. I think that he is okay right now because he has too many stats for most solo laners to deal with. I think Grux deals with him okay, and I think that Steel, who we'll get to, still deals with him pretty well. I just don't like this character. I think you should change something about the character instead of just giving him stats. That's my opinion. Sparrow, same ground as Murdoch, slightly behind Drongo in terms of carry, but scales really well late game, really hard to hit, really small hitbox. Murdoch, a little safer. Drongo, much safer, but scales really well late game. Steel, I still think Steel's top. I'm going to say he's top 3 characters in the game, maybe top 4. This character is broken. So they nerfed a bunch of his damage this last patch. They nerfed the damage on his shield wall, and then they nerfed the stun on his right click. 0.2 seconds of a stun is not why this character was good. I don't know exactly what people are smoking to think that that's what was making this character good, was 0.2 seconds on his right click. What makes this character good is the fact that he does more damage while building tank than anyone else in this game. Fire Blossom nerf, does it hurt? Sure, it does. You're losing like, I don't know the exact numbers. I'm going to say 1/3 of your damage on enemy heroes from the Fire Blossom nerf. Dynamo, 1% nerf, doesn't matter. Steel's right click does 5% of the target's max health as damage. As long as it does that, he will not be able to lose the solo lane. I will not say he wins every solo lane matchup because he's not going to just solo everyone, but you can't lose. If you don't play like an idiot on Steel, you cannot lose the solo lane. I still think he's really good. Has one of the best ultimates in the game. His dash for some reason trumps like 10 other dashes in the game. It knocks up Kalari mid dash and knocks up Grux mid dash. It knocks up, half the time it knocks up Gideon, even though he portals out. I think that this character is very good. I don't know why he still has a stun on his right click. I think he needs one of his CCs to be gone. That's me personally. If you're going to make him do the same amount of damage, remove one of his crowd controls. Otherwise, nerf his damage, please. He does too much damage. Revenant, final. The best carry. I still think he's the best carry. Unfortunately, I will say this is the one downside to playing Revenant right now. He matches up poorly into Drongo, which I think is hilarious. This is sort of the same as the Rampage Kai thing. Drongo into Revenant is a good matchup for Drongo. Revenant has a really hard time killing you. You have a decent amount of poke to match his. If you silence his Q, he's useless. You outbox him if it comes down to autos. I think that that's a good matchup for Drongo, but I still think Rev is better, generally speaking, all around. Same with Kai into Rampage. I think Kai in a 1v1 should pretty much beat Rampage. I don't know. I'm gonna say he beats Rampage 70% of the time. As long as you immune the rock and you auto him and keep your passive up and don't get like pulled off of him or miss a jump or something like that, then you win that matchup. It's the same kind of thing where these are just better characters, but they have some kind of weird matchups down here. Countess, #1 character in the game. I'd probably put Revenant #2 and then Rampage, then Steel if I were to order it. But that's it. I know I went a little ranty in this video. I think that's fine. There are some things about this game that still bug me. I play a lot more than a lot of you do. So I think I notice a lot more things than some of you guys do. And hopefully you guys enjoyed something about this. And if you guys have more questions, please let me know in the comments. I want to know what you guys think about anything I said, tier list or otherwise. And let me know. I'm curious what you guys think. So thank you guys for watching. As always, I've been Pinzo. This video is Dunzo. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.